Right, everybody, last one of these, I hope. In the previous videos, we talked about how we connect everything via MIDI, and we've got Dock of the Bay here, and we've got Dock of the Bay here on my Onsong lyric sheet. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can import some pictures into Onsong, and how you can just use them as a sort of a visual cue to send MIDI information and turn on some input effects. So let's say we want an octave pedal and a delay pedal, but we don't want to mess around with the actual pedals at our feet. We could just turn it on and off using the MIDI commands in Onsong. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import those pictures. You don't have to do this, you can use sticky notes, and I'll show you an alternative way in a minute. But let's just import a couple of pictures. So I've sort of already saved a couple of images in my files. You can see there I've got like a Boss octave and a digital delay. So let's just import the octave pedal and done. So now I've got a random image there. So what we can do is we can edit it a little bit just to tidy things up. We don't want it being in the way of our lyric sheet. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to trim the sides like this really quickly. There we go. And then I can move that just by tapping it. I can move it over here. And I'm just going to get rid of that shadow as well. So let's just press those ones. Make it a little bit transparent if we want, and then get rid of the shadow, and that's an ideal size for me, so I'm happy with that. And now we're going to import again. We're going to tap this little box with the pencil. I'm going to import a clip, and this time I'm going to go to my files. I'm going to choose the digital delay one. So we'll go ahead. That's massive, by the way, but we can resize it in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get rid of the sides. In fact, there's no real size, I don't think. Didn't need to crop that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll go and tap those three lines in the corner. We'll make it a little bit more opaque like we did the other one. Get rid of any shadow if we need to. Obviously we need to make this one smaller, so roughly the same size as the other one about there. So there we go. Now I've got a couple of little visual cues for me to turn on and off some effects if I wish. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is make sure that I'm assigning the correct MIDI commands. So we are going to have to use our assigns within the RC600. We're going to have to use two assigns because we've got two effect pedals that we're going to be playing around with here. So we are going to have to do that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and see how we're going to do this. So we hold down anywhere on the image. Actually, no. Double tap, and then you've got where it says at the bottom left, no action assigned. We're going to assign an action. So we're going to scroll down until we get to, there's loads of things we can do with it, until we get to MIDI. We're going to send a MIDI event, and it's going to be a send event. So now I've got like that similar page that I had before on my other iPad. I'm going to click the plus icon at the bottom, and it's going to be a control change, or a control message. And it's going to be on channel 2. Do you remember we had the RC600 set up on channel 2? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send it to CC1. So it's a bit different than before. I'm actually going to choose number 1 because that's going to be MIDI CC1. I'm going to switch it to latch so that it works. And I'll come back to this in a minute. Okay? Just going to leave that one there. We're going to come down here and we go to menu twice. And we want to assign something now. So all my assigns are off. I'm going to turn on assign number 1, and I want it to be MIDI CC1, don't I? That's what we talked about. There it is. There. I'm going to leave it on momentary, because that's the way that it's working for me. If I switch to toggle, even though it's kind of like a button, it wasn't working properly. So I'm just going to leave it on that one, and go across here. Now, obviously, we want the target to be input effect A. Which is there. So I'm going to come out of that. So we've got input effect A, which is the octave. So now if I come back over here, I've got a low battery. Let's close that. If I hit test command, there we go. It's sending it. I'm just hitting it on and off, by the way. Pressing it on, pressing it off. And it's sending that octave effect, turning it on and off. Okay, so we know that works absolutely fine. I'm going to hit done. Make sure you hit done. Make sure you hit done again. And then hit done again. Let's just save that now. so that I know when I just tap my octave here, it's going to turn on and off. You can see that in the background. All right, so there we go. That one works fine. I want to do something a little bit different with this one. I want to use a sticky note. I don't want to use the actual picture, so we can use a sticky note. We're going to put a sticky note, transparent one, over the top, just in front of the actual pedal. So check this out. This is quite cool. So we go over here again. We go to sticky note this time. Okay, we've got a sticky note. We're gonna assign an action in a minute. Let's just hit done, and we're just going to move this sticky note to where we want to move it to. Okay, so there we go, double tap, there we go. So it's going to be around here somewhere. I'm going to obviously change the size of it. So I can hit that one there, oops, hit those 3 lines. There we go. And I can just make it see-through if I want. You can see that it's going a bit more opaque there. I'm just going to leave it clear for now. And I'm going to change the scale to roughly fit over where I want it to be, which is around here. I can obviously change the shape as well if I want to change the shape. So let's go ahead and do that. I can change the shape like this if I want, change the shape that way, and turn the shadow off like I did before. Let's see how that one's looking. It's a little bit better. All right, I'm just going to make it. I'm just going to change it a little bit more. So go back to my shape here. There we go. It's a bit more rectangular now, and I want that just to be a little bit bigger. So I'll go back up to my scale. There we go. So that's roughly, there we go. Roughly what I'm after in terms of having being able to push that area, if you like. So I don't have to push the whole of the picture. I can just push that. So we are going to make it transparent. So I'm going to turn that right down as low as it's going to go. Okay. And now obviously I want to hit that pencil icon and assign a MIDI command. So like we did before, we go all the way down to MIDI, we go to events, we go to send because we're sending a MIDI event. We hit the plus icon, it's a control change on channel 2, and this time let's just go for MIDI CC number 2, switch it to latch on. I come back down here and I hit menu twice, go to assign. This time we're using assign number 2, which is that. We're using CC number 2, which is that one. Go across, and we want it to be input effect B this time, which is there. Let's just see if that's going to work. So hopefully our delay will turn on now when I hit test command. There we go, on and off. Sorted, so that's working fine. Don't forget to hit done, hit done, hit done. So now it's not going to turn on and off when I hit randomly on the actual pedal. If I just tap the pedal up here, nothing's happening. But if I tap over the actual, this bit where we assigned our little sticky note, it's not working either. Because, what did I do? Do we have to go and do that again? Let's go and do that again quickly. Obviously, I've gone wrong somewhere, haven't I? So again, sticky note. For the purpose of this one, let's just go and assign our MIDI command first, and we'll do it really quickly if we can. There you go. It just shows that nothing ever goes right all the time. So MIDI command, we want on channel 2. We want it to be CC number 2. We want latching on and off, and that's working nicely down there. That's sorted, so we know that's working okay. Hit done, and hit done again. So I know, look, if I'm tapping the sticky note, it's turning it on and off. Let's move the sticky note where we wanted it, like we did before, and let's make it a little bit more visually stimulating, if you like. Turn that off, scale, make it a bit smaller, about there, and change the shape. So there we go. That'll do, won't it? So there, if I tap over that now, my delay is coming on and coming off. And then lastly, we'll just make it completely transparent. There we go. So I'm tapping over, on and off. You can obviously change the colors as well if you want. Or just turn it to that kind of a color, whatever. Have a play around with it, and you'll see that it is quite cool. It's a cool feature to have. I know that you're obviously not using these effects pedals, but it's just something that's quite useful to see. You've got something visual. You can turn it on and off your octave, turn on and off your digital delay. Anyway, that's the end of this series of videos. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope it's been useful. And I will see you all in the next ones. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Ta-ta.